So let's do question 5. What we have here is the equation of f of x being equals to minus 1 over x minus 3 plus 2. So this is a hyperbola. In 5.1 we are asked to write down the equations of the asymptotes. Looking at this equation here, this is the vertical asymptote and this is the horizontal asymptote, right? So the equations, you can write them as x being equals to 3 for the vertical asymptote, y is equals to 2 for the horizontal asymptote. 5.2, write down the domain of f. So with regards to the domain of the hyperbola, you simply remember I said in previous question papers, for anyone who just watched me for the first time, the domain, we're looking at the x values, right? So looking at the x values, we're going to say the movement of x values for a hyperbola are from a negative infinity to the positive infinity, right? But they must not be equals to the asymptote. So the asymptote, any value of x, right? Which in this case our asymptote is 3. So x is the element of real numbers, but x is not equals to 3. So this is going to be the domain of this function here. So if you ask the range, you do the same thing. You say y is the element of real numbers, y is the element of real numbers, but y is not equals to an asymptote of y, of which in this case we have y is equals to 2. So y is the element of real numbers, y is not equals to 2, right? So if maybe you are asked the range, cool. So we found the domain being equals to y is the element of real numbers, but sorry, So now we're going to go to 5.3, where we are asked to determine the coordinates of the x-intercept of f. So we have f of x being equals to minus 1 over x minus 3 plus 2. So we want the x-intercept when y is equals to 0. 0 is equals to minus 1 over x minus 3 plus 2. Transpose the 2 to the other side. We have minus 2 is equals to minus 1 over x minus 3. And then we cross multiply with minus 2 into x minus 3 equals to minus 1. Divide by minus 2 both sides. X minus 3 is equals to 1 over 2 because the negative divide out. We transpose the negative 3 to the other side. We have 3 to x is equals to 3 plus 1 over 2, right? So our x value is equals to 7 over 2, right, which is basically 3.5. So that is our x-intercept. So if you write it in coordinate form, 7 over 2 and 0. So 5.4, we are asked to write down the y-intercept of f. So the y-intercept when x is equals to 0. So in this equation here, we have f of 0 is equals to negative 1 over 0 minus 3 plus 2, which is the same as having negative 1 over negative 3 plus 2. So you add these goes away. You have 1 over 3 plus 2, and it should give you 7 over 3. So let me just remove this. So you should get 7 over 3, right? So this is your f of 0, 7 over 3. Now the coordinate form would be 0 and 7 over 3 for the y-intercept, and 7 over 2 and 0 for the x-intercept. So now in 5.5 we must Determine the graph of f. Clearly show so now in 5.5 you must draw the graph of f showing all asymptotes and intercepts with axes. So to do that, we can simply draw our Cartesian plane first and label our graph y-axis, and here it's x-axis. Our equation f of x is equals to minus 1 over x minus 3 plus 2, right? So our vertical asymptote is equals to 3, our horizontal asymptote is equals to 2, so we're going to represent them. So this is x being equals to 3, and this here is y equals to 2. And then we have our y-intercept, which is 0 and 7 over 3. 7 over 3 is simply 2.3, right? So it's above this asymptote. But before we even draw or plot that value, let's first identify where our graph will be. So looking at this f of x, the value of a is less than 0. So when the value of a is less than 0, we know very well that our graph is going to be in the second quadrant and fourth quadrant, right? So that's our expectation. So now what you're going to do is we're going to plot this value here, 0 and 7 over 3, which is 2.3 for the y. It's going to be somewhere here, and then we're having the y-intercept of 7 over 2 and 0, which 7 over 2 is 3.5. So 3.5 is just above 3, so it's here, right? And then you draw your graph. So we know very well that one is in the first quadrant, the other, one is in the second quadrant and the other is in the fourth. So it's going to be something like this and like that. So that is our graph of f of x, right? It looks like this. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, please write them in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos.